Us going back to the past wouldn't be so bad. It would probably be a lot.
Okay. It's literally making you sweat. Going back to the... Okay. This one is men's rights versus feminism. Is toxic masculinity real? This is middle ground. Hey, all right, Destiny. You better stay here for the whole thing, and this will be the last one, okay? We'll stay for this, and Destiny, you better stay for this, and we're gonna see. I already feel like this is gonna be. It's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be spicy. These make you mad? Oh gosh, that makes me nervous. This makes me nervous. I feel kind of worried now after I saw the soap girl. Well, I just hope it don't get worse. I do hope it doesn't get worse. You up in her? Okay, up in her. All right, let's see it.
Hello everyone, welcome.
Thank you for tuning in for Middle Ground, which is all about disagreeing and having a dialogue.
That's right.
Okay.
Make sure you stick around to the end because we want to discuss more about the ethos of Middle Ground, but for now, we hope you enjoy.
That women are misguided. We are not misguided. We do not need you to shepherd us.
Hold on. Oh gosh, the way that man's eyes rolled when she was talking.
All about disagreeing and having a dialogue.
Hey.
Make sure you stick around to the end because we want to discuss more about the ethos of Middle Ground, but for now, we hope you enjoy.
Okay.
You said that women are misguided. We are not misguided. We do not need you.
You see his
to shepherd
eyes?
us.
I gotta see this, boo. I gotta see this.
How's it going?
Hello.
Would you call yourself a feminist?
I would.
Yes, an intersectional feminist.
When you hear the word
Oh.
feminism, what comes to mind?
Someone explain intersectional feminism.
Marxism?
To me, feminism is fairness.
I think that it's unfortunately misguided.
Feminism is a flawed movement.
When you hear the phrase men's rights, what comes to mind?
Aggression.
Advocating for the human rights of man as a class.
I start laughing.
What do you hope to get
Right.
in the conversation today?
I would hope to get some insight and probably, if anything, agree on a lot more than disagreeing.
I actually
Okay.
hope to get a little bit more understanding of why some men think this way.
Do you
I feel like I'm gonna love her.
middle ground between men's rights activists and feminism?
We'll see.
The person voicing needs a mic too because their voice was very, very light. I couldn't really hear. Yikes.
Hi, my name is Zach, and I am 24 years old.
This is Chris. I'm a PhD student at the University of Southern California, and I'm also a Title IX specialist who challenges discrimination against men on college campuses. And I'm 30 years old.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Derek. I also go by Brendio. I'm a YouTuber, and I'm also known as an incel.
I'm mad at this. Okay, but I'm tired of situations, right? This is the first reality situation, but when they have somebody representing YouTuber, right? And Destiny, calm down. And yeah, we ain't even start yet. And when it's like, because you saw the way he rolled his eyes, you saw the stuff that he was saying, right? And that he's supposed to represent YouTubers. Like, really, that he's supposed to represent all of them. Like, really? Ay.
She's an involuntarily celibate.
Hi, my name is Alicia. I am a writer, poet, and teaching artist.
Hi,
I love
currently
Alicia.
work in the pet health industry, and I'm 30.
I'm 24. I'm a graduate student with a degree in health sciences, and I'm excited to be here today.
Can I get my men's rights activists in the left and my feminists on the right?
Okay.
You step forward if this statement is true for you. I believe men and women are different but equal.
How far did they step forward? They like walked all the way forward. Okay.
I know as a woman that
I feel like that was
don't have the
general.
same physical strengths. Men
Right,
and women are
right.
built differently. I think whenever things are built differently, it's for a reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the amount of limits that have been put on women historically, like the fact that not too long ago we were just allowed to like start voting. Even today, like the wage gap, just all types of
Yeah,
things.
wage gap is
Women
still a
just
thing.
don't have a lot of rights that are just, it should have nothing to do with what gender we are to be able to be paid equally.
Right.
Or just be treated with respect. So,
Right.
yeah.
I do believe
Involuntarily
that, of course, there are biological
celibate, yeah.
differences between men and women. And of course, there should also be legal equality. Of course, I disagree with the idea that women face systemic discrimination. You just mentioned the wage gap, which has been debunked so many times.
Where? Because I have wage gap. As a creator, a content creator, I have been through this where I have had male friends that were around the same viewership, the same subscriber base. Actually, I had more subscribers, but we were around the same viewership. And this has happened a couple of times where we talked as creators and we were both offered a deal. And they were offered hundreds of dollars more than I was offered. And we have the same amount of viewers. The same averages. How, Sway? How? You explain that to me.
I've studied evolutionary biology quite a bit. And men and women are very different from not just a physical, the bone structure, the neurological department as well as the chemical
You see her
balances. And
face?
also, I don't believe that men and women are equal under the law either, or they should be rather. Children are not equal under the law. And it's not because we hate children, it's because we love them and we want to protect them.
So if you believe we're not equal, then that you're inferring that one would be greater
Better.
than the other.
Well, so let me
So that's what
chime in
I'm
with my
trying to-
perspective.
yeah.
As far as not being equal, I don't think that necessarily means inferior or superior. When it comes to certain things like roles like childbearing, a woman is going to be far more productive and a lot more nurturing than, say, a man. And when it comes to doing a lot more of the heavy lifting and the work, a man is probably going to be more suited for that role. And I don't think that makes them any better or worse. We are just built, created, and born different.
I would also like to
Well,
elaborate. I am not saying that they are.
Hold on. Well, what he's talking about, right, in the realm of childbirthing, right, or child rearing, it is natural for a female who births the child in most situations, right? We're not talking about every situation, but in most situations, as a female, we like the child has literally come out of us, right? So there may be like a connection that can be somewhat instant, right? Especially if you're breastfeeding, because they literally pop the child out, wipe it down, and stick it on your titty. Like it's right after. So you have that connection. And for the male, it's something that has to be a little bit more initiated because the baby came out of the female, right? And so there's that, right? And then there's the difference of like heavy lifting, especially after a woman's had a baby. She ain't gonna be lifting up no houses or anything like that. So having a man or a partner, it doesn't even have to be a man, right? But his still lies in the aspect of physical, right? Which is what she had said. So he seems like he's passively toting his line off of what she has said. What he had said, though, because he didn't really say it clearly, and it sounded like he was trying to say that women should not be equal under the law, just like children are not equal under the law, which means you are associating us to children, is what you're telling me. That's what I got. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if I misunderstood what he said. Let me know. That lady already doesn't like him, right? I don't blame her. I can relate to this aspect because I work for a company with predominantly female workers. I'm so sorry to hear that this crap happens. Yeah, that's true. I will say more. There are more jobs I'm seeing more females in jobs, right? And then, then it's financial discrepancies could be based off of race or favoritism, right? But it is still something that happens where you'll see a male get paid more than a female for the same the same type of job. Yeah, you thought it was weird the way he said it, right? Because it seemed like he like rumbled through it really quickly. So it sounded like he was saying that women shouldn't be equal under the law, just like children aren't equal under the law, in a way to protect them. So to protect us, we should not be equal under the law, but men should, not be protected. It's just the way he said that was very weird.
Worse overall or better overall.
They complement each other.
Like he said, yeah, they do.
They complement each other beautifully.
They work very well together.
We
when
need
they
each other for
working in that
for
proper,
offspring. I mean, that's part of the beauty of it. And I think trying to equalize them and make them the same and transition and all that, I don't believe is going to be the most conducive when it comes to the family raising children, but also just for overall well-being.
I want to note that you brought up children being unequal to adults. I just hope you weren't comparing women to children.
Thank you.
I mean, it was technically a comparison of women and children.
I don't need you to protect me. I just need you not to harm me. I can
Thank you.
protect myself.
Thank you.
I'm very capable of doing what I need to do. Okay? 100%.
This man talk about some shirt. Push him off the stool. Push him. Knock him over. Okay? Oy. Bro came to a serious talk with basketball shorts and a hoodie, and I'm supposed to listen to it. And I'm mad. He should have kept the fact that he's a YouTuber a secret.
I am an incel or an incel advocate, I suppose.
What does that mean?
I don't hate women at all. I think we're different, and they have aspects that are superior to men as well. It's just very contextual on the subject.
What's incel mean? Someone describe that to me.
Is real.
I
this
think that
man.
toxic masculinity is definitely a real thing. It's kind of just the idea of what masculinity should be, but it goes wrong a lot of the times, saying that violence, sex, power, being a controlling person makes you a man.
I see it in very unfortunate places, like when the young men or boys in my family, even from like toddler age, are told, you shouldn't be crying, boys don't cry. And what that turns into, I see it when I'm in a bookstore and a guy who tries to get my number says, why y'all always gotta act like that? And he sincerely had this like cracking voice, like he was hurt, but it was an entitlement. And that's toxic masculinity. It's saying like, you don't realize how your behavior is harmful.
What does toxic masculinity mean? Is it character traits? Is it upbringing?
The suppression of feeling. For a lot of men, because throughout childhood they're told man up. So because of that, there's a lot of repression. Repression then is usually channeled into anger for some people because they not always know how to express because they're told not to express.
So upbringing and
That's part of
environment.
it.
Okay,
Yes.
but not something that's inherently a part of men. Okay.
No.
I think that when you're showing your emotions, especially to like random people, random women in some cases, they will view you as weak. I was raised by a single mother. I love her. She's my mom. I love her. But I could have used being told to act like a man. I think back, there were some cases where I was too emotional, and that negatively affected how I, what happened to me.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
What is your definition of weak as a man?
Yeah.
Not being as forward as you could be, not being as honest, or trying to be not as emotional as you don't need to be. You don't have to cry over a cut. I know sometimes cuts hurt a lot, but sometimes it's necessary to be strong for the benefit of not just yourself, but for the people around you. It's fine to act emotional in certain cases, but I don't think it's fine to act that way with a woman. Maybe you have a really good friend and he sees you cry, like he's your best friend, and you're crying about something really personal. I think that's fine.
I feel like you're conflating two different situations.
Right,
You start off with saying random person or even women. So it feels like, okay, this is a woman that you don't have a bond with or any type of relationship with.
Yeah,
and then you mentioned, or
I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if it's that he's like afraid, not the leg cross. Destiny just roasted him. I'm not afraid, I think that he might be afraid of saying what he really thinks, because when he's talking, I feel like he's kind of skirting around what he really wants to say. And I mean, he's like less than 6 feet away from the women, right? They're right in front of him. If he gives a good, they could smell his breath. If he really, like, they're close enough, right? So, and they're not smiling. They're staring him with the needle piercing eyes. So, and obviously I'm not shading them at all, but I'm wondering if he's afraid to say how he truly feels, because the way he's talking, it's not really making sense. It's kind of like saying that it sounds like you're saying that you agree, but like you don't agree, because he said that they shouldn't cry about a cut, or feel emotions about a cut. And he said specifically the aspect of having emotions or crying in front of a woman. Clearly he must have cried in front of a woman called him weak, right? Maybe that's what happened. But like he said, you could cry to your best friend. So you can have emotions, just not cry in front of strangers, because crying in front of strangers is not the same thing as what we're talking about for toxic masculinity. So I don't really know. Okay, yeah, he looks crazy. You ain't right. This is why he's in voluntary celibate, because of the stupid things he says. Yeah, I don't think he's not really talking. I want Hannah. Hannah said, I wonder if he eats soap also. I think that chick was better off conversational wise than this guy is. People have told me not to cry like a girl, and I say, is there a problem with being a girl? That's a good response. My thing is, I feel like there's a difference between telling a man not to cry or to man up and not to have emotions, right, is one thing, versus, hey, as a person, maybe not cry in front of a bunch of strangers to be perceived weak. And I feel like that has its own conversation and its own place, because I can understand, for me, like trying to be careful and aware of who I express my emotions around. I've been in situations where I've expressed my emotions and they have been misunderstood, or I was looked at as like weak, and that's something that I had to voice and vocalize and verbalize to defend myself against, right? So I can understand you being like, hey, when you meet somebody for the first time, maybe not cry in front of them, right? But it depends on the setting. If you're in a part of like a group of people and you're going through something together, yes, cry, feel your emotion. But if you're just like walking down Times Square and you just walk up to somebody and you're like, hey, or you're in a business meeting, that's not a place to cry in a business meeting. Or you're going for a job interview, that's not a place to cry. But like, when you're feeling emotions, feel your emotions, express your emotions, have a healthy relationship with your emotions. And that's what it sounds like he's saying, like, hey, there's specific places that you should cry, or for specific people you should cry with. But I don't know. Let's see. Let's keep going.
For your best friend, that's okay to cry. Well, that woman could be your best friend. That,
Oh, he laughed at that.
I don't think you can be friends with a woman, so.
Because you don't see us as equal, as you said before.
Yeah,
I don't think showing emotions is a sign of weakness. I actually think it's a sign of strength. Men do live shorter lives, and that's because of a repression of emotions.
Yep.
And that's due to many things that patriarchy has instilled.
Of emotions.
It has been shown that a person's well-being,
Let me
their
say, please.
lifespan is shortened when they are not able to express their emotions. In addition, when they don't have physical touch, or when they don't have a partner to keep them company. We are human beings here. We need to talk to each other.
Right.
And if you think that our health isn't affected when you're not able to express that you are sad or upset, you're wrong. I think that men's rights activists are only men's rights activists as a response to women expressing that they want more equality.
I agree.
I don't think they focus on actual men's rights issues, and rather it's just an attack on women and feminism.
Today, women have more advantages than men.
I can speak from a hiring standpoint when it comes to things like affirmative action, and there are certain roles that
This, okay, all right, hold on, all right. Normally I would have said something there that I would have had my brother cut out in the editing side. Let me make this yellow box is pretty big, and it's covering me up a little bit. There you go. Let's do that. Let's do that. There you go. So this man did not just try to claim in his argument of men and women. Good night. Thanks for coming through. Affirmative action. This current question Cal is asking, was saying that women have more advantages now than men, right? Because I think that's the question that today women have more advantages than men. They came up. I don't want to hear what this man got to say, but this man talk about affirmative action. Let's hear what he has to say. Let's hear what he has to say.
I can speak from a hiring standpoint when it comes to things like affirmative action, and there are certain roles that traditionally men and women have been able to serve in, and now women can basically do all of those things, right? Because we've had such a strong advocacy for equal
Why did you mention
representation in the workplace,
affirmative action?
whereas, for example, you'll never find a man as a midwife nurse, and I don't think it's appropriate. That's why there are those differences.
Women in like the most important parts of society have an advantage. There's a lot of positions that men simply aren't getting hired at anymore because of the fact that they're a man. And it's not just
like
in the workforce. It's also, I would say, it's a lot easier for a woman to find a relationship, even if she says it's finding the right guy is so hard. It really isn't. But sometimes.
You had high hopes for who? For this man? The yellow one? You talking about the yellow one? The one wearing the yellow jacket. You talking about the one wearing the yellow jacket. That's the thing. Give an example. He seems like he's one of those people that just says a lot of general stuff. The Mamma Mia is all you're gonna say. He seems like he's one of those people that just says a lot of stuff. Give me a specific thing where you feel like a lot of places aren't hiring men because they're just not hiring men. No, where, Sway, where, sir, okay? And then, it's not hard to find them. This man is honestly just talking from his own emotions. He feels like it should be easy because he is available and therefore somebody should choose him. But it is hard to find because it's not just about you being a female. If it was just about being like like whatever you're into, right? If it was just like, oh, I need a man or I need a woman or I need a binary or a non-binary, or I need a cis or whatever it is that you're looking for. If it was just about that, then it would be easy for everybody. But it comes down to personalities, trauma, childhood trauma, mental health, boundaries, taste, desires, fantasies. It comes down to all these different factors that are the defining factors on whether you match properly with somebody or not. It's not just about whether you got a vagina and some boobies. Boo.
For a lot of guys, finding a girl at all is hard.
Dear.
If I have to consider what I wear before stepping out the house, because I don't want to draw some type of attention, I don't know how many other men have to consider, is this outfit going to be deemed safe for me? Any situation that I've experienced where I physically felt endangered simply because I don't want to give my number out. It's part of that entitlement for men. You're not entitled a conversation with me. You're not entitled to my number.
That aside, it's like, are you going to make one example of the entitlement of men when it comes to asking for your number be the all-encompassing thing that all men have a problem when it comes to approaching women?
Well, firstly, it's not just an example. It's not necessarily all men. I don't dislike men. I love sports, I play video games. I have bros, I hang out with dudes. We just want men to realize that if you have friends that are having locker room talk. As a man, as an ally, please say something to your friends.
Do you think repressing that is really the solution here, though? If it's in a healthy male space.
There's nothing
I don't think that's healthy.
No,
I
that's
think
not
it's
healthy.
toxic in
I
itself.
mean, if you're making jokes and you're doing all of that.
Jokes that are harmful jokes are not healthy because they just lead to people normalizing things.
Right.
People always say, oh,
Right.
it's just a joke. But when someone else hears it, they don't realize how that resonates. And again, how that turns into violence.
Right.
Like, this is not an isolated situation. I'm only thinking of 3 off the top of my head because if I think of too many, I'm going to spiral
So
right now.
what's the alternative? Men shouldn't talk about these things.
No, I think
No
men
one's
can
ever
have a
said
healthy
that.
dialogue. I don't think men have to be toxic in order to have a conversation. I
Right.
know plenty of men that are able to have conversations.
That guy looked
about
like he got
healthy,
this guy, you should just remove him. He ain't even talking. The other guy though, he moving around like he got to take a poop. I think he full of ish. That guy in the yellow jacket full of ish. Right. So there was this happened a few times, but one off the bat of my head is the top of my head. It was in Atlanta. This happened like months ago, where a girl was walking with her boyfriend, and then a guy was hollering at her, like saying, "Hey, I want your number," or whatever. She turned him down, and she was with her boyfriend walking down the street. Homie was in his car, came up and shot her because she denied him. She wasn't disrespectful or anything. She's like, "Nah, I'm good." And it's happened a few other times where it's not even just where they ask for your number and then they like get mean or aggressive or call you buckethead or chickenhead because you said no, but it has actually turned to lives being lost because when the female turned him down, the man killed her. And a girl last week was stabbed in the arm of the train station because she didn't give a man her phone number while she was with her boyfriend. Yeah, these are examples of toxic masculinity for sure. Okay, so it's not a thing about saying, hey, men aren't allowed to talk, but you should not feel entitled or like you're owed a number. No one's saying that you can't ask. You can ask. For me, you know what? I will say for me. I'm speaking for me because I'm not going to speak for all women because some women rather you not ask, right? I don't mind if you ask. But I would say before the past couple of years, I didn't mind when somebody asked. Now I feel uncomfortable. Definitely. Before it was uncomfortable. Now I feel like scared. I get scared now. I'll be honest, because of situations after hearing about that chick getting shot and then like people getting aggressive and things like that. It's uncomfortable when they ask for your number and then you're like praying that they don't get mad that you told them no. You're not owed that. You're not owed that. Whether it's to a guy or to a girl, you're not owed that. It's
productive
not
things,
yours.
just like women are.
Well, it's not obviously something that I have personal experience with, but only 1% of all people on the death row are women in this country. So when women and men commit identical crimes, women are much more likely to, for example, escape the death penalty. And that's just plain sex-based discrimination.
That I agree on.
That's true. Look, I'm thinking about basic needs, like around the globe, the women.
Hold on. So when they said about, okay, see, this is the problem with toxic masculinity. When they asked the question that women have more advantages than men, right? And they said it was a general statement because women, there is gender-based what did you say? Prejudice or whatever, right? About a woman being on the death penalty, right? Or death row, and there's way more men than there is women, which, like, they agreed is a statement. I agree that that's a problem. You deem that you painted that for all advantages, for everything, because in this one tiny particular thing, women seem to may have had to possibly have an advantage. And that's the brush that you paint. Everything, which is that. That's what you're telling me. Okay, all right.
Don't even have like proper like sanitary like products.
I mean, I have to agree. Just small things like a tax on a box of tampons. Do you think I choose to do this monthly? No, trust me. So why should I have to pay taxes when this is a medical necessity?
we're just like dismissed. A lot of our symptoms, a lot of the things we report, especially women of color, but women across the board, are just treated a lot less equally.
They are treated a lot less equally.
I'd say that I'm an advocate for what I believe the role that men play in society. I believe that their views should be expressed openly, that they should be given a platform to do so, and I believed in men unapologetically and unashamedly being men as we were created.
What does that mean?
I think in my heart that there are things that men are entitled to. I am all about human rights, and I do consider the rights of every human, but every time I hear of a men's rights activist, I hear anger and I hear very illogical reasoning, and it just boils my blood because it's a setback for all of us.
I would say that, like one of the women had said earlier, I do feel like it is a lot of the times in experiences like things like this and other conversations in life that I do feel like it's normally a response to women's rights. Do I think that there are extremes even on the feminist side? Yeah, I do feel like there's extreme feminism, just like I feel like there are extremes on political spectrums and extremes on, anybody with an opinion can be on the extreme end, right? And when you go to extremes, things can be damaging. I completely, wholeheartedly agree, but I have not yet heard from these guys today. And we'll stick with just these specific guys because they're the ones that are the example right now. I have not yet heard an argument from them that is like, hey, I understand why there should be a men's rights activist. I feel like in a situation where you are against an extreme, where there's unfairness and discrimination happening on the female side, then you're just wanting to kind of numb the extremes and kind of come back to an equal plane. Okay. But I don't really hear people who argue that as claiming that they're a men's activist. I never really hear that statement or that argument.
I feel that the other side does not understand my values.
Yeah, everybody should come up forward.
I think a lot of times when a movement is created, the other side thinks that they're being attacked or think that it's some attempt at erasure. That's not what feminism is about at all. What do you need a whole men's rights activism movement for? I'm sincerely confused.
Right, because they already have rights.
I will advocate for positive masculinity and what men should represent and healthy outlets for men. I still think the Boy Scouts should be exclusively the Boy Scouts, for example, one of those things. Where I would like to think that we could get some common ground is when it comes to the clear biases that are in the court system, especially in the marriage and family court system, right? And right there is what I would advocate for when it comes to men's rights.
The things that stand valid, that I'm hearing from y'all that are valid to me, come from a place of I'm treated unfairly by the system. Versus a lot of the things women are saying. It's also America and the system as well, but a lot of it is harm from men.
How and where?
Mm-hmm.
How and where what?
Where's this harm from men coming from?
Okay, it started when I was young. I'm not gonna talk too long. I was 16, got a bottle thrown at me because I told a boy no. It started when I was in a club, a boy touched me. I said no, he kept touching me. It got to the point he got violent. It gets to the point that the only reason why a man decided to stop touching me in the bookstore I talked about earlier is because he realized my husband was not too far away. And he said, sorry, bro, never said sorry to me. That's why, and that's off the top of my head. This is why I get upset because I'm here to talk about how you feel, but when you just dismiss the fact that women actually have experiences, that's when it seems like it's about more than your rights. It seems like it's about your ego. And that's where I get pissed off because how dare you tell another human being that their experiences, what they're telling you right in front of your face is not valid.
I didn't say they were invalid. I said how and why. I'm trying to understand.
How and why? Because it happened. It happened many times. It happened yesterday. It happened the day before.
Okay, I think some of the things that you guys are touching on, such as the court system and gender roles, are a subject of of patriarchy, and that's
No,
part of what
that's-
women are trying to dismantle, is those traditional gender roles.
Are there any feminist organizations that have done anything, for example, to challenge bias against men and fathers in
Yes,
the family court system?
absolutely.
Can you please give me a list of feminist advocacy organizations
Look.
that have engaged in any meaningful advocacy to address those issues? Because there are actually none.
Okay.
Oh, dear.
I know that you came with your little research or whatever. I didn't come
Yikes.
with a list of like feminist organizations, but I know actively that there are women's organizations that are trying to dismantle those inequalities.
Just one name, just one
Again, I
organization.
didn't come with a list, my dude.
There
Yeah,
are no
right.
such organizations.
Again,
Goodness,
In what
goodness.
ways are men's rights at risk?
I think there has
As a gay guy, I'm constantly worried about getting abused and denying someone advances because I experienced it. It happens to guys too. I'm all for men rights activism, but don't make it anti-feminism and vice versa. Okay. The fact that she needed to explain is sick, and he looked like he didn't even, yeah. Yeah, he did think he ate that. He did think he ate that. Man's in the blue is a professor, but the brain cells aren't gonna. Destiny. Oh my gosh. My goodness. Okay. It sucks that stuff happened to her, right? Yeah. And I hate when someone dismisses, you know? And after everything that she said, it didn't really change anything for him. And then this guy, she said she doesn't have a list, right? Maybe she could try to get one for you later. Did you actually do research and see that there is none? Or are you just assuming? Yeah, she said, I know you did your little research. She threw shade.
significant progress over the last decade or so, especially in the legal field. But I think there are still significant disparities that need to be addressed, such as poor health conditions, bias against men in the criminal justice system, bias against men in family courts, and bias against men in the educational system, especially in colleges.
And women
I'm sorry. I will say this as a. I have to take a second before I speak because it's difficult to hear him talk about biases in the court system for all men when since he is a white man saying this when he's at the top of that benefit, right? Whereas there are black people and Spanish people and I would say BIPOC people, we'll say BIPOC people, right? That are by huge percentages at the deficit of any advantages, you know? So it is difficult for him to say that, females have an advantage over men when you're not really I feel like you're not talking about every man. I don't feel like you're talking about I don't feel like you're talking about all. I don't feel like this is an all lives situation. I think you're kind of talking about just you and your people. It doesn't really seem like you're against biases. It's hard. It's difficult. It's difficult, It's difficult to yeah. Okay. So men and women should be allies.
Men, unfortunately, many of them don't want to even have this open dialogue that we're sharing right now. We need men to help be allies, to help speak to other men.
It strikes me the way you phrase this, you almost want men to say certain things that you want them to say, as opposed to maybe actually listening to what they're saying.
What certain things would I want to
Just kind of men being allies, men talking to other men, etc. I'm completely okay with that, but I'm not going to repeat like feminist talking points to other men.
We all believe different things. We may be under the label of men's rights activists, but for example, I'm probably the most traditionalist person here. I think we should be allies, but maybe us being allies in a patriarchy wouldn't be so bad. You know, us going back to the past wouldn't be so bad. It would probably be a lot.
Okay. It's literally making you sweat. Going back to the, okay. And this goes back again to my previous point of it is difficult for me as a black female to hear you as a white man saying that to go back to the past would not be so bad. And we is 3 days officially out of Black History Month. And this is the thing, this is the thing that I'm hearing. This is what I'm hearing. This man did not just say he wanted to go back to the past. Again, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not licensed in any of that. What I am feeling right now is because his situation, like I feel it's all personalized. I don't know, right? I don't know this man's story. I don't know this man's past. I don't know anything about this man, right? Outside of what he said when he opened his mouth in this conversation right here. But it just feels like when somebody has gone through something personally and they take on the views of like a grander group because they feel that they will be benefited, but you would still have the same problems because it's not just because you're a man that there are issues. It's not just because you're a man. It's your personality. It's the things that you say. It's how you convey that information. There are more things. You just having a dangle doesn't mean that we are like gonna be like, oh yeah, you know you got that dangle, let me get it. No. Go back to the past as a white man and he looking at the system to say, you really in my face saying you want to go back to the past. You really want us to go back to the past. You need to meet his mother. I need to meet his mother. Child, if we go back to the past, his future won't be so bright. Listen.
Happier if we were, getting married and staying married and having kids and, going to church and all that, la-di-da-di-da.
While speaking to the three of you, I feel like you're each coming from different perspectives.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to, again, just like our perspectives, it's hard to generalize.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I feel like there are certain things that, even though we're not fully agreeing on it, things may get lost in translation, our verbiage may not be 100% correct, that we could at least agree on.
Can I ask one question? What would you envision would be the ideal man with the end goal of feminism as far as educating men or working to dismantle whatever patriarchy is? Like, what does that man look like?
It starts with childhood. We have to teach children as well as girls, because we're also taught, because of toxic masculinity, what a man should be as well.
I think that we just need to hold men accountable. In order to kind of make progress, we need help from people that will listen. Because let's be real, when we express our concerns, a lot of men refuse to listen, but they would be more likely to listen to another man.
That's true.
Do you also feel like you have an ethical obligation to challenge other women or other feminists when, for example, they deny that men face discrimination?
When it comes to things like, men can't be abused, I've had this conversation with another woman, and it's the idea that just because a man may be physically stronger than us, does that mean they cannot be abused?
They can be.
Because of
and it also means, it doesn't mean, just because you are a man doesn't mean that you cannot be abused, doesn't mean that you can just because you're a man that you should be able to man up and just fight the abuser. Even when it comes to, sexual abuse, right? Excuse me. It is possible for everyone to get abused. And I do feel like for us to have a middle ground in regards to women's rights and men's rights, and I do roll my eyes just because of some of the things that they have said here, I do feel like the middle ground would truly be just coming from a place of understanding and actual fairness, right? It is not fair. I would ask, do you think it's fair for a man to feel entitled to getting a female's number that if she tells him no, that he has the right to be aggressive in any manner, whether it's verbal or physical or even becomes violent? Do you believe that men have that right? No? All right. So if you don't believe that, when you hear other men getting angry and mean about a girl not giving the number, talk. I do feel like accountability is a huge issue. And if you want to stay on both sides, fine, true. But when it comes to like the male side of it, I do feel like it is something that accountability is definitely needed. When you don't hold people accountable for the things that they're saying or doing, and yes, all people, men and female, should be held accountable for the things that they're doing and they're saying when it comes to, especially when it comes to the harm of somebody else. I shouldn't feel like it. Like if you feel like you should be free to ask me for my number, I should feel free and safe to tell you no, right? And how would you like it if every time you asked a girl for their number, they were like, and they got angry and aggressive or even violent, right? You would feel some type of way about that. So understand that that's not something that you would have the right to. Yeah, but it's usually from other. No, that's not true. So like she was saying, sometimes from child abuse. I mean, because it does happen in jail, right? It does happen. Abuse does happen in jail, right? And grown men can get abused by other grown men. But a lot of the times it's the youth that get abused. Men, and there's that thought that just because they're a man that they should not be abused, they should be able to handle it, or they should be ABC, XYZ. Men feel pain. If you stab a man, he will feel pain. Just like if you stab a woman, she would feel pain. So there is that. I agree with her saying that men can get abused. So that's why I carry my stuff with me every time I go just in case I got to slice and dice one. Oh dear Destiny. Travel safely.
Again, fairness. Women need to be held accountable as well. I want to understand their viewpoint. As a woman and a woman of color, I know how it feels to be disenfranchised. So I want to understand why they feel the need to have a men's right movement.
I feel empathy for the other side.
I don't think there's ever a time in my life where a person says they're hurting and I don't at least try to listen or understand. My only thing is that I want the same in return.
Right.
So when I'm genuinely saying I'm hurting or I've been through something, and it's not just a personal experience, because I actively do this work and surround myself with women saying I've been hurt by a man before. I get that you have stories, but I mean, that's actually my question. I haven't heard y'all stories. Like I've sat up here and said I have 3 on the top of my head. I have about 30 plus probably. And I haven't heard y'all say, this is what happened to me.
I don't think that I'll ever invalidate a woman's feelings when she says, hey, I've been abused or whatnot. I don't think any of us here are rightfully saying that. But I think what's dangerous is when emotional testimony that may not always be what it is gets, creates bias, right?
Okay, I feel empathy for women being lost, being misguided. Look.
What? Do they have like a disclaimer saying the views of this man do not represent the views of everybody else? Oh my goodness, dear Cupid, I'm so sorry to hear that. I am so sorry to hear that. I hope that you are, if you have not yet, I hope that you are, talking to someone about that and getting help to heal from that. Not saying that that's anything easy to heal from, but I hope that the work that you are finding someone that you can confide in and talk to help with that. You say he eating Dawn dish soap? He gotta be. First off, this guy saying hold on. Let's go back to this guy saying that testimony that may not always be what it is. So are you saying that these men were not? How are you gonna say in one sentence say you do not dismiss a female saying that she's hurting, but then you end your sentence by dismissing a female that said that she was hurting? Sway. Someone make that make sense to me, please. Oh my goodness.
Creates bias, right?
Okay.
His name is Derek? That's been his name this whole time? I've been calling him Yellow Jacket. I didn't even know his name.
Creates bias, right?
Okay. I feel empathy for women being lost, being misguided.
Lost? What?
I don't know. You can go.
Do you have any bit of empathy for anything we said up here?
Yes.
Right.
I really do feel empathy for
Why
women.
was that so hard to say? Like for the stuff that we said. Do you have any bit of empathy for the stories I said up here?
Right.
I just want to know.
I do.
Like, I'm not even trying to be hostile. I just genuinely want to know.
Yeah,
Right.
I just think that like a lot of the problems that have happened in your life are because society is not patriarchal. It's not traditional. It's we're gone. We're lost. We're in a fallen state, right?
There is a change of guard, not necessarily a change of guard, but things are evolving, things are changing. And I feel like a lot of men speak from a viewpoint almost of fear. A lot of men are having a hard time grasping that and feeling comfortable with it.
I do feel empathy for your personal experience, but I cannot sympathize with your ideological position because that ideological position is built on a fallacy, and that fallacy is actually causing very real consequences for men as a class in this country.
How?
So I understand that you are here with us as kind of the good feminist, so to speak, that you feel empathy for men, and I believe you, but I do not believe your movement, and I do not believe your ideology.
All right, we'll leave it at that. That's a wrap, guys.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sweaty.
Yeah, I'd be sweaty too.
Okay.
You are very articulate.
Oh, thank you.
So are you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your time.
Okay.
Oh goodness.
Wow, that was interesting.
John, what do you think?
You're very articulate. Get out my face. He trying to get the number. Okay, don't ask though. I'm mad that he was like, they wouldn't have gotten the head. I'm mad that he was like, because we're not traditional, like as if this stuff wasn't happening back then. Women had way less rights then, and they had no say in who they were going to even marry. If a woman was decisive back then, they were deemed a witch or sinful or like unworthy of living. Women didn't have a choice to choose who they could marry. Their fathers had to decide. Another man had to decide. And there may be historical situations where a female decided and stuff like that, right? But if you was back in the day, then people was calling her a whore or calling her, saying that she's a witch or saying that she's like all of these things, right? Oh yeah, we'll pop in the comments of that video to see what people are saying, right? Just to take a peek. But like, this man talking about traditional, like, yo, you go back in time, build that time machine, you go back in time and see if you got a better off situation or a better off life. Because it ain't gonna happen for you, bro. It ain't gonna happen for you.
I think it means to disagree thoughtfully.
Hold on, let's see what they
You are
said.
very articulate.
Oh, thank you.
So are you.
Thank you.
Stories.
Thanks for your time.
Okay. Wow, that was interesting.
John, what do you think it means to disagree thoughtfully?
I think when you disagree, it's important to acknowledge the other side's opinion and to kind of respect that opinion and to know that maybe you can't change it. And I think like we've had a lot of middle grounds where people stick to their sides, but they at least acknowledge and try their best to understand where the other person is coming from. And sometimes I think that's the best we can ask for.
Well, we want to hear from y'all too. Let us know about something that you may have agreed with or disagreed with. We want to see the same type of meaningful dialogue in the comments below. We'll be looking out for those. As always, make sure you leave a comment.
Before we go into the comment section, okay? Let's take a breath. Destiny got us all heated, right? This is Destiny's choice. I want y'all to remember this is Destiny's choice, okay? Y'all wanted the drama and I gave y'all the drama, period. That is also true, Destiny, okay? Don't come for Destiny, all right? We did say, hey, we want controversy, and she gave us. She delivered. She delivered. There's no meaningful dialogue in the comment section. That is why we need to breathe, okay? That is why we need to take a breath. Okay? Y'all did it? Y'all took your breaths? Put air in the chat, okay? Use the air emojis. If there is one on there. I know there's like one on the phone, but if you're on your computer, I don't know if there is one. These men need Grammarly. I can't believe you pulled that out, okay? Yes, all right. All right, let's breathe now when we go to look in the chat, in the comment section, okay? We're going to try to be patient with these peoples, all right? All right, let's look at the comment section. All right, there are 3 groups in this discussion. This is a good one. Men's rights, feminists, and Derek. That one's a good one. That one's a good one. That was funny. That was funny. The fact that women in this video got through this entire thing without knocking Derek out is honestly astonishing. I think I might like these comments. This video made you need a cigarette. You smoking, Destiny? Don't be smoking, okay? Don't smoke a cigarette, okay? Maybe smoke weed, but not no cigarette, okay? Oh, you were reading the comments? All right. Whenever Derek talks, you can see how disgusted everyone looks. Derek is basically how I imagine a misogynistic locker room talk gamer who sits in his basement and mocks. This is the freaking. It pisses me off that the association that I share, because he's a gamer and because he's a YouTuber, he was a YouTube gamer, and I don't know why I put air quotes, this is what he said he is. The fact that is what people look at when they think of us, and that he is supposed to represent us. No. And I'm not pissed at him, this person that left the comment. I'm pissed at Derek and the essence he has left behind. Dear word. Yeah, and that's the thing. You know what? Hold on, preach on it, Michael. Let's read this again. Derek is basically how I imagine a misogynistic locker room talk gamer who sits in his basement and mocks people over being too sensitive over Discord. Looks like, right? This is the thing. It be them same people, right, that talk about how, oh, control your emotions, don't get so emotional, right? That be the same people cursing you out over some stupid ish on a video game, yelling, calling you all sorts of stuff, being really immature, disgusting, and when they're talking about you. But you want me to control my emotions. I should control my emotions, but you should be able to do that. Really? It be the same people, bruh. It be the same ones. I like Zach and B. Zach 100% wanted to actually listen and learn. B is 100% for all equal rights. Let's scroll down. Derek is so incredibly insecure, and also he's not even a men's rights activist. He's just sexist. He was so absurd to the point of simply being invalid. Some people's arguments are wrong, but you can see room for conversation, and then some are wrong where their side is just so extremely wrong that you don't even care to speak about it. Like, for example, some racist things can sound more subjective, and some things are as simple as saying the N-word. I feel like someone who is debating whether or not something subjective is racist would have a chance to speak, whereas if you said saying the N-word isn't racist, you would be just completely ignored. I feel like Derek was just blatantly sexist and no one even cared. I kind of feel like this was all over the place a little bit. All right, I just feel like that was over. Let's look at just one more comment. We'll scroll down because sometimes they be into weeds. So far, the comments weren't super bad, except that last one was a little unique. I'm a feminism supporter, but I'm also a men's rights supporter in terms of egalitarianism. Okay. I love playing the devil's advocate in general, but in this case, I feel like I'm literally on the fence. I'm educated in both. I can see and understand the rights and the wrongs and the points, and the hysterias of both. I know this is a binary thing, but I would absolutely love to have had a seventh chair in the middle between those two sides. I really believe that all sexes and genders experience their own issues and troubles due to the formulation of society. All right, fair. I kind of hate that people are so tribal and become blind to the plight of the opposition. However, looking at any other issue, we can see that it's basically human nature. I think that there's fairness in this statement, right? I do agree that if we all came writing YouTube essays, if we all just came to like the understanding of the actual issues that each have, right, instead of kind of gatekeeping where people can have emotions, I think it would be with understanding, right, with actual understanding, open-mindedness, and listening to each other. I think that there could be fair conversations and fair dialogue. And men have problems, females have problems too. I can in the realm of the male side, in Florida is definitely heavy on when it comes to like paternity situations and like taking child support out of checks. Men in the system in Florida barely have a say, right? Or barely have a right. And I have seen situations where, and I do want to preface that this is not a thing that is that should be plastered to all women that are asking or that are in situations of paternity suits and things like that. This is a situation where I have seen a man was unfairly treated and way more was taken out of his check than should have because the female lied about a lot of things, right? And she got away with it. And we've seen cases where there was a woman that I saw something about the other day where she lied and told her kids that the father was sexually abusing them, right, for years. And the kids believed it happened and were saying it happened to them. Then years later, she finally, like, this man was broke, like emotionally broken. And years later, she admitted that she lied about it. And she said, well, she made it up, but if it wasn't true, then he should have fought harder. And that's toxic. That's just a toxic ass person for you to legit poison your kids against their father with a lie of something that never actually even happened. But you felt like, oh, if it really wasn't true, then he should have fought harder. You can be burned and scarred by someone telling an outright lie. Something like that is not something you play with, right? So I understand that there's unfairness and there's issues on both sides. And if we as people would, going back to the accountability statement, if we as people would call out things that are incorrect, despite on which side that they're on, right? We would have less problems. We would have less problems if you as a man with accountability called out and said, hey, that man was wrong for throwing a bottle at your head because you didn't give him his number. It is not his right to have your number, right? Or when your friends get upset because they don't get the female's number, or they get mad and call her a buckethead or a chickenhead. That happens a lot, right? Then if they held them accountable, then there would be less problems. And then on the female side, that chick that lied, you were a despicable person to do that and poison your kids. That is despicable. For the woman, I say woman because I'm not gonna say women, but the woman that lied and ended up getting more in child support than like lied about situations and stuff like that. She wasn't trying to work or anything like that, and lied, right? I'm talking about a personal experience. You are wrong for that. You are wrong for that. There are actual people who deserve to get snaked because they were actually trying to dip and not take care of their kids. But you have somebody who is actually trying to take care of their kids. Don't do that to them. So I feel like if we, imagine doing that. Imagine having the wherewithal to hold your peers accountable to the stuff that they're doing. Things would change. Well, I'm going to end the stream here. It is literally 1:49. This was fun. I want to do this again, but we're going to maybe limit to like, I don't know how many reacts we did today. We didn't even get to the, let me look at the history really quick to see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we did 5. We could stick to 5. We'll play this out. This is something new. It's late. It was a great stream. I loved it. I had a lot of fun. I think we did like 5, I think. I'm counting this one. I'm glad you guys come. I want to do more of these. Sorry. If you are a member, please join the Discord. If you're a member on the React channel, right? Because I know I have many channels. There's a members only Discord where I will be dropping tomorrow, because it's late now, but tomorrow I will drop another group of anime reacts. And the reason that it's better to be a member for the anime reacts is because I don't have to cover everything. I don't have to cover the screen. I can keep the volume up. Everything is clear and crisp for you. So definitely check it out. And then also members do take priority in React suggestions as well. All of these were suggestions from members. All of these that we reacted to today were suggestions from members. So that's another benefit for being a member. And there's a lot of other benefits. Check out the link I pinned in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining. I love you guys as always. I'm hungry, so I've got to find something to eat at 1:29. And I am hot as heck, okay? And I already took a shower. But yeah, I love you guys. I'm tired, sorry. And until next time, buddies. Toodles.